Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Tayo ngayon ay nasa ikatlong araw ng ating paghahanda in honor of our Blessed Mother sa pagdating ng ating Panginoon sa araw ng Pasko. Ang araw na ito, mayroong espesyal na tao na pwede nating bigyang halaga ang ating pagninilay sapagkat nababatid natin na ang pagparito ng Panginoon ay hindi isang iglap lamang. Ang pagparito ng Panginoon, ang kanyang pagiging tao, ay nagsimula ng isa o maraming mga pagkakataon at gumamit ang Diyos na mga iba't ibang tao, experiences and circumstances only to make this event, the incarnation, happen. So that's why I am referring to the person of Saint Joseph. Alam ko na marami sa atin ang nagdidibusyon kay Saint Joseph. Personally, myself is a devotee of Saint Joseph. Lalo na sa oras ng pangangailangan, material na bagay, Saint Joseph, being the head of the Holy Family, will intercede for us. But then, there is a deeper explanation or characteristics of the person of Joseph. Hindi lamang sa material na bagay. At ito ay pinaparating sa atin sa pamamagitan ng ating ebanghelyo. Si Saint Joseph ay hindi kilala or maraming mga bagay ang ikwinento sa kanya sa ebanghelyo. In fact, pagkatapos magpakita sa kanya ng anghel sa pamamagitan ng kanyang panaginip, parang wala na tayong maririnig about Saint Joseph. But then, according to the gospel, he was called a righteous or upright man. Siya ay isang matuwid. Papaano ipinakita ni San Jose na siya ay matuwid? Na maaari nating gayahin, magiging inspirasyon natin sa ating buhay pananampalataya. Alam natin kung papaano nagsimula ang pagbubuntis ng mahal na ina. Siya ay nagbuntis hindi dahil sa intervention of the human person, but of the Holy Spirit. And because of this incarnation of Jesus, maraming nabagabag. Unang-una, si San Jose, maybe ang kanyang pamilya at ang pamilya ni Maria, dahil sa nangyari sa kanyang asawa, betrothed na si Maria, na siya ay nagbuntis ng parang wala pa sa tamang panahon according to the mind of the people, of the family of Saint Joseph. So papaano ngayon haharapin ni San Jose ang pagkakataon na yan? Of course, the law dictates that Saint Joseph should report the incident to the authority. And by reporting, Mary will be accorded with corresponding punishment. And it is not just an ordinary punishment, but punishment to death. Siya ay papatayin by stoning. And of course, because of the love of Saint Joseph, hindi niya hinayaang mangyari iyon. In fact, ang kanya sanang desisyon ay hiwalayan ng lihim ang mahal na ina. Pero nagpakita sa kanya ang anghel na ituloy ang iyong pagpapakasal, pakikisama sa mahal na ina. So Saint Joseph was a righteous man. Why? Unang-una, because of his own sensitivity, of his own awareness kung ano ang pwedeng mangyari na hindi maganda kay Maria. He saved from the shameful incident of Mary. So that's why sinikap ni San Jose na ipagtanggol si Maria, being sensitive to the needs of others. Not only an ordinary sensitivity, but that sensitivity coming from the heart. Yung bang tipong ibibigay ko ang aking sarili just to save your reputation, just to save your person. Hindi ko ikukwento, hindi ko ipagkakalat, but to save the person of Mary. So that's why it is a very good example of Saint Joseph na para sa atin, it is sacred and important to be always aware and be sensitive, seriously, lovingly, to the needs of others. So that is one criterion why Saint Joseph was called a righteous man. Secondly, despite the difficulties that Joseph and his family and the family of Mary will encounter, Joseph listened and obeyed to the instruction of God through a dream. Sinunod niya ang kagustuhan ng Panginoon. Kahit na mahirap para sa kanya, but then coming from the heart, he was obedient to the will of God. And that is the second criterion why Joseph was called a righteous man. Mayroong nagsabi, ang author ng Imitation of Christ, si Thomas Kempis, sabi niya, instant obedience is the only obedience there is. Dapat, when you obey God, it must always be instant, without delay. Because to delay your obedience to God, the grace that you will receive from God will also be delayed. That is the consequence. So that's why, even though it was difficult for Saint Joseph, he obeyed and followed what is good, established by God Himself. Kung ano ang mabuti para sa Diyos, kung ano ang binigay sa Kanya, yon ang Kanyang susundin. Pwede naman sanang maging mabuting tao sa Kanyang palagay sa San Jose, but not his own criteria of being good. Because we can only be good if our criteria are not established by us, but by God. We only follow what is that good. It is God who is the author. So that's why Saint Joseph was really that kind and obedient to God's will, instantly. So that's why he is called holy. For us, my dear brothers and sisters, there are many opportunities being presented to us in this present time of our society. The needs of our own family, the needs of our neighbors, of our friends, of our office mates, our co-workers. Sometimes, we do not know ng isang tao ay may pinagdadaanan, lalo na sa panahon ngayon. Bakit? Hindi mo malalaman na malungkot na pala siya o lumuluhan na pala siya. Dahil tayo ay naka-face mask. Paano natin malalaman na nalulungkot na pala ang isang tao o lumuluhan na pala dahil naka-face shield siya? Sometimes we have to discover the condition, the situation of other people. And you can only do that once you are sensitive enough to discover what he or she needs. It is only then that we can say, yes, ipagtatanggol ko siya. Gagawin ko ang mabuti para sa kanya just to save his person or her person, just to save the reputation of that person. Hindi ko siya gagawan ng kung anuman ang masama para sa kanya. That is a way forward of our own holiness. Of course, our idea of being good, of being holy, is sometimes associated with certain laws na dapat magsisimba ako tuwing linggo, mag-aayuno ako sa araw ng pananalangin na itinakda ng simbahan. Susunod ako kung ano ang mabuti na sinasabi ng aking magulang, and many other instances where we can follow or say we are good citizen, we are good person. Of course, those things are enough, but not sufficient. Again, from the example of Saint Joseph, being sensitive na kaya nating ipagtanggol ng tagus sa puso ang isang tao, yun ay isang paraan ng pagiging banal at pagiging upright. Because if you are sensitive to the needs of others, you will also be sensitive to the will of God in your life. As we prepare ourselves for this 9 days novena, let us ask for that grace, that our eyes may not be closed to the needs of others, not only materially, but those sufferings that sometimes only them can know. And of course, always doing the will of the Father. In that way, I am very sure that we will live a life as God expected of us. God bless you all.